Let's Talk Sports fans. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey everybody, it's Happy Friday from me, Mr. First Down, and Bradley Mangold, and we're here to talk about our beloved Tennessee Titans. We had ourselves a little press conference, I believe on Thursday, and we once again, Callahan being a little more forthcoming with information, which is refreshing and also a little weird, something I'm not used to. We talked about wide receivers and he talked about tight ends. Which one do you want to start out with, tight ends or wide receivers first?
Wide receivers.
Wide receivers. Why am I?
Receivers.
Somebody from the great state of Ohio wants to talk about wide receivers. A man that's from the state of Ohio State, the Ohio State University, wants to talk about receivers. That makes sense,
right? Not the one we're gonna get though.
Yeah, no, I feel you. So he talked about finding a slot wide receiver, right? And
no surprise there.
He started talking about names, right? So Kyle Phillips. He said NWI. He even said Mason Kinsey, which I'm sure made you and I roll our eyes all at the same time. Like, no. Did not say Traylon Burks. Now, that doesn't mean Traylon, of course, will do it or be on it or anything like that, but it's a little odd his name wasn't mentioned. I think it's also interesting that they met with neighbors, right? They met with the LSU wide receiver. So now I think we're starting to lean and see if you agree with this. If Alt's not there, are they going to take Neighbors if he's there? You think that's the feeling we're getting?
I think just by what Callahan is saying, and then Rand Carthorne did say that this is a deep draft for tackles and offensive linemen. We did just pick up an offensive lineman today from the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
I think if Malik Neighbors is there at number 7, I think he will be drafted by the Titans, but the Giants might take him at number 6. So that's my opinion. I think it's just because the visit, the storytelling. I just texted you this before the show. Traylon Burks I haven't seen it yet, but the rumors are that he is going to be either on the trade block or he's going to be traded. I mean, you're not going to get much for him. Maybe a 6th, 5th at the best, right. 5th round pick. Maybe a 6th. You're not going to get a lot for a guy that hasn't produced. But this is Ryan Carthorne's team, and John Robinson, we all know, drafted Traylon Burks to replace AJ Brown. And I saw an article today. I forgot who posted it, but it said, "Hey, Traylon, you got to earn your spot," and I just don't see him earning that spot, especially in the slot. I haven't seen great quick speed out of him, especially when it comes to breaking away from guys. Like Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't feel comfortable with Burks and Phillips. That's been a big question. Who's going to be the slot guy? NWI, I just think he's too slow to be a slot receiver. I think he's good, but he's just not he don't have the speed. Yeah. Nick Neighbors does have speed. He's busy with the Titans. Callahan likes him. I just don't know if he's going to be there at number 7 because he got the Giants at number 6. But God knows who New York wants to get. I mean, they don't have a good receiving core themselves. So, I mean, if Neighbors is gone, I don't know if they rolled a dice with that big guy Rome from Washington because, I mean, they could draft him, put him at number 2, and put Calvin Ridley in the slot. So they got some options. It's either going to be receiver or off lineman at the 7th pick. It's just, the problem is with me is just, I mean, obviously the offensive line is bad. Receiving core 1 and 2 spots are filled. But it's the Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips. Like, who do you trust? And obviously, they both have struggled with consistency and injuries. So it's just weird. It's just so weird because, I mean, we all know college and NFL is for some people, it's a big gap. Some people, it's not a big gap. But Burke's production has definitely hurt, and I don't know how long it's going to take him for him to develop with a new offensive coordinator again. I know D Hop and Calvin really have a better chance of, they're veterans, so they've been around the game for a long time to snag up a new playbook and learn everything. Now, Burks should be better if Rand keeps him because he has D Hop and Calvin Ridley, but once again, it's that lack of production and injuries. We don't really trust these guys. So, wide receiver offensive line is going to be the number 7 pick. This is going to be get your popcorn ready and see who they get.
Yeah, so here's how I see it. If Alt is there, they have no choice to take him. Now, remember, this is just my opinion. It's not like, this is exactly – I don't want to be the talking head on ESPN. So here's how I see it. If Alt is there, you have no choice to take him, and I'll tell you why. Because that guy is not only a plug-and-play left tackle, which is so rare to start out, and you can put him at left tackle and they do their job. This guy could be a 13-year, don't have to worry about left tackle for a
long time.
And Neighbors, if you got Neighbors, you would have to worry about his contract and big paying a wide receiver and all that stuff. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but if we look at wide receivers around the NFL, that's the trend. They get drafted, and then contract time comes up, and it's all of a sudden I want to be paid Stephon Diggs money. I want to be paid, whatever. I want to be paid A.J. Brown money. So I feel, and let's say this team goes south, and it goes south for Callahan. I have a feeling that Alt will still be on the team. Like, he would survive it. So left tackle would be taken care of for a very long time. So my reasoning is if Alt is there, you have to take him. But I'm with you. If he's gone, all bets are off. They're going to draft. They pull a name out of a hat at that point. I know.
It sucks that Jack Conklin left because I was a big fan of Jack Conklin, especially his rookie season. Came out strong. It sucks that we got rid of him, and that been a right tackle. Definitely helps us in the long run, but we all know what happened there. So,
well, we look at like Conklin's career, right? It's not steady. It's all over the place.
No.
And
injuries again.
I think they got a little used to having a steady right tackle. But I will say this. I am fairly confident that it will not be Brock Bowers. No, I just don't see it.
And that's my argument with those types of Titans fans who say, we should draft Brock Bowers. It's like, if we're going to draft anybody. Yeah, I get that. And if we want to draft somebody to replace somebody else, I'd rather not replace Chig. I know Brock Bowers is a beast. He probably will be better than Chig, but I just still have him going to the Chargers at number 5 because I think with Jim Harbaugh, the hit the Chargers, Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, they can probably go Justin Herbert and Brock Bowers and try to reestablish that. But who knows? But it's to take a tight end that early is extremely pushing the button because
I don't like it.
Travis Kelce and because you could find tight ends like Travis Kelce or Ron Gronkowski who are not first round draft picks. It just depends on the offense and the coach and who's the quarterback. I think that's what it comes down to. So I would not draft a tight end number 5. That's R7. That's extremely even Kyle Pitts, who's extremely big, talented guy. I don't think he's being used right in Atlanta, but he hasn't had a great career yet. Not bad, but just not great as a guy of his physical attributes and everything that he brings to the table should be. So it's a little interesting there too. But Brock Bowers is a beast. But I wouldn't take
obviously. I wouldn't tell Bowers I'm not drafting tight end that early to his face unless I wanted to die. But that brings us to the second topic about tight ends. So some people are interpreting it like they're going to draft a tight end early, whatever. No. He said Josh Wiley is muscled up during the offseason, and he's excited to see what Chig can do. Chig is very athletic and a good player. He
Mhm.
just needs to be used properly. And I don't think there's an offensive-minded coach, which Callahan is, that wouldn't look at that and say, boy, I can get this guy open within 2 seconds, separation. Especially if you can't figure out slot receiver, then you better get that tight end going. So I
Right.
think people are jumping the gun on the tight end thing. I think they have a set of tight ends right now that are just going to do just fine. And worry about the holes on your defense and worry about the holes on your offense. Don't worry about tight end. It's
Mhm.
not the list as far as I'm concerned. That's how
Yeah.
I see it.
The only issue I have with Chig and Riley is just they just had a lot of drops last season. That's about it.
Yeah.
Good route runners. Chig is like when Johnny Smith was a Titan, he was great. I don't know why. When he left Tennessee, he became this weird tight end, but in Tennessee, he was good. Chig reminds me of Johnny Smith. Like the Johnny Smith of Titans, Delaney Walker, Titan. That's what Chig reminds me of. Just gotta catch the ball. That's all. Look, they drop passes,
Catch it.
but
Just catch it.
just catch it.
I agree.
Catch it, run.
That's all you need to do. So we traded one of our 7th round draft picks for Leroy Watson. This is Papa Callahan written all over it. He knows this guy. He knows what he's doing. This is a depth player. And you traded a 7th round draft pick for a 25-year-old tackle who has playing experience. So to me, that's better than a 7th round draft pick, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
I would have for 6 personally. But hey, they want to take that deal, by all means, take that deal. So the other comment I saw in the press conference I find was fascinating. If there's any concern that this team isn't trying to help Will Levis, that was eradicated in this press conference. Okay?
I don't know why they'll say that.
He was heaping all amounts of, look, we are doing everything we can to make sure Will is comfortable and ready and building an offense that suits him. That's the line to me. Building an offense that suits him. The man's strengths, the man, what he can do. You got to build around him. And he goes, yeah, we put a lot on his plate, but this is, I agree. It does stink that you've lost stability now and you have to start all over. And you got to talk to new players too, a great amount of new players. But this team is built for Will Levis. That is what they're doing, and we're going to find out what that man is made of. And even if you Google search Tennessee Titans right now, the top name on it, right? The top name, Will Levis, QB1, Tennessee Titans. That's what QB1 does.
Mason Rudolph at 2.
Yeah, but he went like, I don't know, he really went out of his way to praise Will Levis. And maybe quiet dog. Anyway, anybody walks down the street, if anybody sneezes in the vicinity of this dog, she loses her mind. I love her, but there's sometimes I'm just like, maybe I'll just let you out and shut the door. Anyway, but moving on. What are our 2 keywords this season, Brad? Did you see them?
Stay healthy. That's my 2 keywords. Stay healthy.
Like, you know what? It's 2 R words. Relentless and resilient is what they're going for. And I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. We got a little bit of him talking to the team on social media, and that's nice. I feel like it's nice, but it's a different way of saying I want tough. What do they always say, the coaches? I want tough, dependable, smart players. Like, at least relentless and resilient is a little different for me. Yeah. But now I got to ask the other question. Uh-oh. What if we are grabbing? What if we're all wrong? What if Alt's there and they take the best defensive tackle off the board? They take an edge off the board. What do you think?
That'd be Dallas Turner if he's available. Not bad because Harold Landry needs somebody opposite him. I mean, Auden Key, I don't have a lot of trust in him. I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he's great. Jeffrey Simmons is great. Him and Day. I mean, if you run a 4-3, I think that's what it might be. I think it might be a 4-3 defense this year with Gay and Simmons. But then Harold Landry will need somebody opposite of him. We do have Weaver and Alden Key, but I'm not sold on those guys because they're not as good as Harold Landry is.
Right.
And then the linebacker, you do have Otis Reese and Kenneth Murray, but who's going to be the leader of those linebackers? That's what we're going to find out. Still need a safety. So, I mean, it's open. I will say this. Brandon Carson has done a great job as with the money in this year. But I got to throw some love to the rivals in our division, the Houston Texans, because every move the Titans done, Texans have countered it. Them getting Diggs, I'm not worried about Diggs against Snead. Snead will probably lock down Diggs as he always does in the playoffs. But I feel like Diggs in Houston will be better than Diggs in Buffalo just because Collins, Dow, Dalton Shorts, whatever. Joe Mixon, we'll see how he does. CJ Stroud's coming off a great rookie campaign. D'Amico Ryan snagged two of our former defensive players that, I think Al was going to leave anyway because he loved playing with D'Amico Ryan in San Francisco.
Yep.
Getting DeLille Hunter was huge for them. They needed a pass rusher, and now they got that with Will Anderson Jr. and Danico Autry, so that's huge. Jaguars, they didn't have a good offseason. I mean, Gabe Davis is extremely overrated. He had one good, solid game, and everybody thinks he's worth all this money now.
We're going to make him
Colts
great.
are still a threat. Colts are going to be a threat because, Colts are always – Anthony Richardson has to stay healthy. As another quarterback in the division has to stay healthy. But I think Trevor Lawrence is still a threat, but not the Jaguars. This ain't the Jaguars as it used to be, but that's my two key words is if Will Levis wants to be a great quarterback, he has to stay healthy.
Yes.
That's it for him. That's it. I understand he wants to make these plays, but we don't need you double, diving, getting hit, and you twirling in the air like a helicopter. We need you to slide and just stay safe. So
you can't afford to get hurt. You can't. You can't do it.
Can't afford it. Yeah, we don't need Andrew Luck, great quarterback, but he retired because he was just fed up with injuries. So Will Levis can't be a Jake Locker or Mariota.
No.
The great thing about Levis is he does have a great powerful arm. He just needs to pick up those little accuracy throws and the check downs. And another thing that really concerned me last year was the loft passes to Tajay Spears where he could have got lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I'm like, Levis, gotta be careful, man. Floating it out there like that because you're gonna leave your running back out there to get killed. So luckily the NFL is getting a little bit softer, so getting mega softer into the NBA here. But yeah, Phil Levis just has to stay healthy and just continue to develop. That's it. I know this season, I don't know how it's gonna work out right away with Callahan being the play caller, but it's definitely a lot better than previous years when we had other young, talented quarterbacks on this team. So Ryan Carson is doing a great job.
Yeah, I agree. There is a feeling of renewed optimism, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe this is, and I'm a pro Vrabel guy, but maybe this is a good thing. Maybe people feel better about it because you do have an offensive guru, supposedly, at the helm. And maybe it was still Vrabel, you wouldn't have that feeling, probably not. But it's we sit here today through the press conference and whatnot. I'm very curious because we talked to our new defensive coordinator Denard, and I'm curious if it is a 4-3. I'm curious if it is a 3-4. I'm curious if it's some sort of hybrid. He's a secondary guy, so I want to say it'd be a 3-4. Then again, he may want more pressure on the quarterback for his secondary guys to get the benefit there. So it's hard for me to say. Hard for me to say what kind of this defense is going to look like. So I guess that's another surprise when we take the field on defense and see what kind of they're lined up.
could be a 4-2-5, 4 defensive
Yeah.
linemen, 2 linebackers,
Could be
run a
nickel.
5-corner set.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I know that's what he kind of did in Baltimore, but in Baltimore you got Patrick Queen had Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, they're both beasts at linebacker. Plus he had Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey, and if you got Snead, they got good secondary. I know Molden he's a concern to me because there's moments looks good and there's moments he doesn't look good, and then there's Malik Hooker who looks good, but then he can't stay healthy. Then you got the other safety position that hasn't been addressed yet. So there's still plenty to go, but I mean, I'm happy with the Snead trade. So I know Snead and D Hop are going to go at it in practice because they're both physical guys,
Oh, for sure.
and so that's going to be a fun practice because those guys are going to go at it. Just don't break his ankles, D Hop. That's all I'm going to say. We don't need to try to fist fight D'Angelo Hall again.
So when the Texans trade for Traylon Burks, right? That's the feeling, right? They keep taking all the other leftovers, so they might as well. Right?
I don't know who's going to take that guy. He's the issue with Traylon. Like when it came to drafting him first round, like I never saw him as a first round player. Coming out of Arkansas, I mean that's like. At least when DK Metcalf and AJ Brown came out of Ole Miss, Ole Miss and Arkansas, they're kind of similar in the college football rankings. They're like, neck and neck of like who's the mid of those teams. But DK Metcalf and AJ Brown are just like when they had the combine, everybody fell in love with them because they were just big, massive guys who could run. And Traylon could do it. Problem is, he's just the injuries, and then he would drop passes, and then he just disappeared. And I mean, I think with Bill Callahan, Traylon could be a lot better. The problem is, I don't think Grant Carthorne believes in him or trusts him, or Callahan even. And we know Callahan loves wide receivers. Cincinnati had 3 wide receivers, so
he also didn't have.
People
with that.
And that's the crazy part. Like when people say, well, Cincinnati didn't have a good offensive line. Like, yeah, but they still made a Super Bowl trip, and Joe Burrow played great. If you would have 1 second in the Rams game, he had Jamar Chase wide open. Problem is Aaron Donald. We all know what Aaron Donald does to offensive line. You can double team and triple team that guy. He'll still get to the quarterback. But I mean, it's very interesting to see what happens. I mean, I don't think from my think draft day, we're going to see a lot of trade. I think Washington offered this year's first round draft pick and like 2 future first round draft picks to Chicago, and Chicago shot it down. So that indicates to me Chicago is going for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Not sold on him, but he's going to be the first overall pick. And I think Traylon Burks, if he's not traded before the draft, I think he will be traded at the draft because I just don't. I don't wish for anyone to lose their job, but man, when you in the sports, you got to produce. If you don't produce, you're gonna lose, and it just sucks. I mean, Traylon's a big guy, but I just don't see it. I haven't seen it, and I still 1 touchdown in 2 seasons. He's missed 12 games. I mean, he dropped some good passes. The concussions he hit were BS. They weren't clean hits, but he has a contact sport. It's going to happen. And I feel like, there's a guy on TikTok I watch. He's hilarious. The hip drop tackle, Derrick Henry should rush for like 2,000 yards this season because if he's in front of you, you got no chance. If you're behind him, you try and tackle him, you got no chance because you can't wrap him around the head. It's a massive man. So I wish the NFL would stop with this nonsense. Like, I understand the owners are voting, but gladiators, when they went to battle in Rome, they knew they were risking their lives. Boxers, UFC fighters, hockey players. I mean, they know. They signed up for this. If you don't want to play football, then don't play. But I know that's not the players. But, like, I know a lot of defensive players, when they ban the head drop tackle, we're just like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, yeah, I agree, because, like, I mean, I never heard it be called a hip drop tackle. I just say the tackle. If you're behind him, can't hit him high, can't hit him low. You got to hit him in the midsection somehow. You got to bring him down somehow. That's your job.
Right.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. But going back to Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips, that trust issue. It's just gone.
Right. It's not existent.
Very. It's so weird.
Oh yeah, we're approaching the draft, Brad. And I was going to ask you publicly on air, will you marry me? No, I'm just kidding. If we have a mock draft to do, you and I, for next week's show, so we'll bust those out next week. Hooray! Also, that I will be in Detroit for the draft, so I'll remember that. So I'll be live from the draft, probably going, "Why did they take?" No, I'm just kidding. I told you.
You flying?
No, I'm driving. I'm gonna meet up.
You're gonna pass my city then.
Yeah, I'm going to first. I got to go to Indianapolis, my wife's cousin, and sleep there, and then him and I are driving up to Detroit, and away we go. So it's going to be.
Just be careful.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. I'm packing when I go up there. There's no way.
Oh yeah.
No way. I hate saying that.
Good old Detroit.
That's just how it is.
Hey, I've been to Detroit a couple of times. It's Detroit, but I still got love for them. It's just.
I imagine with the NFL presence there. I remember when it came to Nashville, and they had snipers on top of the stadiums and stuff like that. So
right.
I don't feel like anybody should cause any trouble. No. But we're coming up on
good football fan of Detroit.
We're coming up on our 30-minute mark, which is our off-season football stop time. Which I will say this at the end of this show: who's getting drafted at number 1? We're just going to ask it every week. Who's getting drafted?
Oh. I think we all know the answer to that question.
I'm sitting Joe Alt. I am vehemently on Joe Alt.
Just to get a good cop, bad cop. I'm gonna say if he's there, Malik Neighbors. That's how I'm predicting. But I would not be upset with Joe Alt because I like him too.
I wouldn't
Can't
be
go
upset
wrong with him.
I wouldn't be upset if Azune either. I would not be mad about that.
The reason, I mean, you can't go wrong with either Neighbors, Rome, or all. I would prefer Rome just because if the draft is deep at tackle and they can get a good one in the early second round, maybe trade up late. Let's say maybe move up even earlier in the second round to get one. That's okay. Because you do have Papa Callahan. I know he can probably make a difference depending on who we get and who's in the facility. But I wouldn't mind taking Rome just because DeAndre Hopkins is 31, I think.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's got 1 year left. So why not draft a receiver who's big and physical like Rome? Because if Tennessee, I think Tennessee would have to either finish above 500 or make the playoffs to try to persuade DeAndre Hopkins to come back, depending on what kind of year he has and what kind of year Tennessee Titans has. Because I remember going into the bye week, heading to the trade deadline last season, I was on ship of trading Derrick Henry just to get an extra draft pick.
Uh-huh.
And I think Brand Carthorne tried to do it, but Amy Adams, this is the rumor, Amy Adams shut it down because she didn't want to move Henry.
Yeah. She felt like it was a bad move.
Yeah, which it wasn't. I mean, everybody knew Derrick Henry was done in Tennessee just because, and even going back to Derrick Henry's interview, he's like, they asked him, "Who was your last 2 seasons like?" He was like, "Man, it was just a roller coaster of emotions and just we were losing." And that's why I'm like, yeah, we need to trade Henry, get an extra draft pick. That's just how I saw it. And Titans fans say, "Oh no, we love Derrick Henry." It's like, hey, we love Derrick Henry too, but it's not about love. It's about logic and business.
Business, yeah.
If Amy would have let that go, we could have had an extra third round draft pick. Maybe we could use it on a draft pick. We could have traded. So I mean, I love Derrick Henry as much as the next guy, and I wish him luck. But we knew he wasn't coming back. That's what just makes it funny. Like, I mean, it's not about. We don't know what he does on and off the field for the city of Nashville, which is great, but. Like, no one wants to be on a Tennessee Titans team that was losing 2 years in a row. And that's just, I mean, and he thought he was going to go to Dallas, but Dallas didn't even think of him, which kind of baffled
Dallas
me.
hasn't thought about anybody.
I know. And I don't know how Baltimore's going to utilize him, but hey, I wish him luck, just like Steve McNair, Derek Mason, Mario, the list goes on. I wish every time player that I loved, Delaney Walker, Johnny Smith, I mean, list goes on. I wish them all luck. And I miss them. But now it's all about the future. And I love everything that's going on. Ryan Carthorne seems like a cool dude. And I'm not suspecting Will Levis to be like a 50 touchdown, 10 interception kind of quarterback. No. He can be a 30, 15 interception guy. I don't mind like 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's good. But I just, like I said, my 2 words is stay healthy. That's my 2 words. Just gotta stay healthy. But wide receiver or Joe Alt, I wouldn't be upset with either one of them.
I like it.
Just because D-Hop is my concern, because let's say history repeats itself. If we go trade deadline and we're not doing so hot, D-Hop's on his last year of his contract, I would do the same thing. Trade him, get an extra draft pick. Because why take the risk of saying, hey, D-Hop, you want to come back? Maybe. No. If he says maybe, then I'm like, okay, we might trade you then. It's not personal. But if we don't know you're coming back, guarantee we gotta get something for you while you're gone. So that's what I would do. You gotta keep close in that D-Hop situation.
Sweet. Well, rock on. I don't think I can finish the show better than that. That was pretty damn good. I will take it. Nice seeing you again, Brad. We'll be able to do this show next Friday, hopefully. That'd be great.
Yeah, one question before we leave.
Yeah.
Controversial a little bit. In your opinion, because this is my opinion, I love Taylor Lewan at left tackle, but I think who was even better than Taylor Lewan at left tackle was one of my favorites, Michael Ruth. Love that guy.
Bless me.
Both good. Bless you, by the way. Both good left tackles. Bless you again.
Yeah, no, Roos was better than he was. I don't think it's controversial to say that. I don't think he's controversial.
And I miss David Stewart at right tackle. I miss we have Kevin Wyatt at center. Man. But hey, you got Peter Skoronsky. It's looking good.
Yep. Hopefully.
And I don't think I don't think Colton Dowell still on the Titans, or is he a practice squad player now?
He's still on the Titans. He's still on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see much for him last year, but just special teams. That's all I saw him
he's
play.
not mentioned in the press conference, and everybody thinks that's a huge deal. So, you know.
Well, I mean, Kyle Phillips last year, I did see a little glimpse when he was healthy, and Will Levis had a good connection, and then they kept scratching him off, and they're like, "Oh, let's play Burks," and then Burks just, I don't know, but it's so weird because this is going to be the Callahan's coaching staff and their philosophy compared to Mike Vrabel, and it's complete night and day. Vrabel was so reliant on Derrick Henry to help Will Levis. Now that he's gone, this is Will Levis's car. He has the keys. He does have 2 good running backs. He has good receivers, good tight ends. So the question is, Is it going to be Burks? Is it going to be Phillips? Is it going to be somebody else? That's the only question we have left.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. Well, we are fresh out of time here. As you sit on your how's that make you feel, Bradley? Anyway, but
I feel great.
we will be back next
I'm
Friday.
Yeah.
I bet. We'll be back next Friday. Hopefully I will have not allergies that are making my eyes swell. And we will have our mock drafts. And I'm going to write Joe Alt in big red letters at number 1 as big as I can and post it to the screen so everyone can see. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm turning 38 tomorrow or Sunday, so keep me in your prayers as I continue older. But thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Friday. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.